Alright, hello everyone, welcome. We have a four-way race. We have a race for you today. We're doing two of them at the same time. This is for Specter of Torment on the Shovel Knight game. And we're doing the any percent category today. We have two races going on this time. Time-wise, it worked out the best, so see what happens. Okay, I can see the stream now. Sorry about that. So this is Specter of Torment. And that was Plains. So I should get right into this. So what they all did there, they pulled off the quick kill on Black Knight 1. You can put him in the corner on the right, and if you hit him in a certain way, in a certain spot, he will keep going back to the wall, then back out there where you can hit him again. So in Specter of Torment, instead of a hub world, there is... Well, instead of the hub map, you get this, which is the little hub area that gives you all the shops, gives you your portal to the next stage you want to go to. So it's a lot simpler than that, but there's a couple of detours you got to take. So the route that all the runners are using has you go to Flying Machine after Plains. And we go to Flying Machine next in any percent because you want to get money as fast as possible so you cannot afford the rail mail, which is the fastest way to go fast. Is the fastest way to move in this in any percent. So you're gonna see them all breaking the checkpoints to get as much money as possible. You need around 9,000. You need around 9,000 gold to afford it, and you're gonna see them picking up these red skulls in the map. Those allow you to get items you need, and the runners are going to be picking up 2 items. You need enough red skulls for the Judgment Rush and the Bounding Soul. Judgment Rush is an item that pushes you, locks on to the nearest enemy, and then you go flying there and deals 1 damage. So it's really good. And you get Bounding Soul, which does a lot of damage to bosses. And looks like BreadPan. There's a skip there. You can do that, just like he did. You can skip that 3rd enemy entirely, which is always helpful to go fast. Now this is the first little auto-scroller of the run. You're going to be going through, you're going to be collecting money again. There's a couple red skulls along the way. And there's these cannons that fire. You don't want to get hit by those. Everyone's making it through fairly without any setbacks, it looks like. At the top, you can break that pillar. You can break the checkpoint and then go over to get the pink diamond up top there, which gets you more dollars, help you afford the rail mail. And all the runners get through the auto-scroller fairly simply there. Now, David is in one of the more infamous rooms in Specter Knight, running the triple Jawa room. That is a really annoying room in the any percent run, because they can kill you really easily. Looking at it, Moomoo died. Moomoo died there, sadly, and it looks like Troy did as well. That's a really... Thankfully, you don't lose that much time if you die there. It's just really annoying, because then you gotta get the dollars you need. Get the money you dropped back. It's really simple. Now, entering the Propeller Knight fight, they time their attacks to when Propeller Knight attacks them. The reason is because it's slow to do the jumping attacks on Propeller Knight, and just standing there you can do a lot more attacks a lot faster on all of them. When it goes to the second phase, that's when you really got to start paying attention to that stuff, because if you can get right next to it, and then right next to him, then you'll have a much better time. Now the runners have all they need. They can start getting the Judgment Rush, which, as you just saw David do, it's really good this early. And then after the rail mail, they go to this character, and they can buy the rail mail, which, when you jump and hold down, you slide on your scythe, which goes really fast. Like, all 4 of the runners got through Propeller Knight without any problems, so that's always good to see. Now, the route for this, it's pretty simple. You go to Flying Machine after Planes, and then it's the rest of the levels in order. Explodatorium is really fun with the movement you can do. You get to do all these bounces off the enemies and all that. The runners will be collecting a couple more red skulls in this stage for the Bounding Souls, which helps in the next stage. But yeah, they use the Judgment Rush to get over to a couple places quicker, because running along the ground would be really slow in places. When you could Judgment Rush over, rush right to the enemy, and be that, like that. Just like BreadPan did. And then Moo did to get the red skull they need. A couple runners breaking the checkpoints again. It's because they need money to upgrade the Bounding Soul item. Because then when you upgrade it, you can do you can shoot 4 at a time instead of 2. And it's really powerful. Now this mini boss fight, you want to be right up next to it, just spam hitting the attack button over and over again, so you can kill it as fast as possible. So it's always helpful. Now these rooms with fire, you gotta be a little careful, because you can get hit by the fire and lose some time. BreadPan was doing a little showing off there, and it's all cool. Alright, the Plague Knight fight, he splits into 3 copies of himself. 1 real and 2 fake. And the goal is to find the real one find the real one, kill that one as fast as possible. You can kill the fakes, but it wouldn't really matter that much, because as long as you can just get the real one over into the corner, then you can kill it and end the stage. Now David's coming up onto the first dream sequence. This gives us a look into the past of Specter Knight, and it's really the first one is used to get money, because there's a lot of it in this stage. This one. Yeah, there's 2 dream sequences in this story mode, and the second one has you go through and fight Shield Knight, which is really cool. I like that they turn that into a boss. Yeah. David ending the dream sequence, he should be going to get the Judgment Rush, the Bounding Soul, that's my bad. And then he could have enough money to upgrade it after this. If not, they upgrade it after Lost City when you fight Rise. Like, all runners had a pretty good Explodatorium, and they're all just now entering the dream sequence. Okay, so they get... Okay, looks like they're upgrading the Bounding Soul after Lost City. Lost City introduces the jelly, which you can hit and bounce off of. And when you hit it going forward, you will take a little knockback. But as you just saw David do, you bounce off of it, and in that room again, you go so far ahead. It's helpful in a couple of the places, but all runners had a pretty good dream sequence. Dream 1. So that's always nice. Now, those lanterns you can normally bounce off of, when they're green, you hit them at an angle and go the opposite way. So if you hit them going left, you're going to go left, which helps get a pretty interesting shortcut in one of the upcoming screens on David. Now, the runners don't need any more red skulls, so they don't have to go out of their way to collect those anymore. If they're there, they can collect them. Now, you can hit those green jellies over to the lava, which will have you bounce off of them, which is always nice. Now, right here, you can do something right there, as David just showed. And you can double hit off the one lamp, which is always helpful. There are these beetle things that you get to ride on. And BreadPan, too greedy with that movement, he took a death there. Isn't the worst place to take a death, because it's not too far of a run, but it's still pretty bad. You know, Mole Knight, you can hit while they're in the wall. I think that's only in Plague Knight, I can't remember. But Mole Knight's pretty simple. You hit him while he's above the ground. You can hit him when he's going back and forth. Here the runners will use the Bounding Soul to hit him while they're trying to attack him. And then, if they do it right, they can kill him before he goes into the ground. Now, David upgrading the Bounding Soul and entering the Rise fight. No, is that... Yeah, there it is. There's the Rise fight. MooMoo's about to do the same. So with the Rise fight, the Enchantress pops out and corrupts this poor boy. Now, the upgraded Bounding Soul is even better than it normally is, because it pierces enemies and can hit them again. Like BreadPan died to the lava again, which never any fun. But one of those places it's not too long of a walk again, so that's always good. David had a pretty clean Rise fight, so that's always helpful. Moon had a pretty good Rise fight as well. David's entering Iron Whale, which is... It's one of my favorite stages just because of the music. So, Iron Whale is completely underwater, as you can see. Now, there's these eel things. They pop out of the ground. You can kill them. And they're in your way. So you gotta... And sometimes you gotta kill them. But that's just about it. Now, there are spikes underwater. You don't want to hit those. They'll still kill you in one hit. And David's entering the treasure fish. Well, the anglerfish. So this mini boss has you go through. You gotta platform on these bubble platforms, which when you step on them, they break. But you have a couple seconds after you step on it to get off of it, or else you're gonna fall down. Sadly, BreadPan didn't get the faster kill, but it's fine. He backed it up nicely. Troy is going into the Rise fight. See what RNG depicts for him for this one. Missed the Bounding Soul off the wall to hit him while he's coming down, sadly. BreadPan going to upgrade Bounding Soul. You can spam, you can hit start multiple times to skip through his text box, pay him cash, and then go right back into it. David coming close to the end of Iron Whale. You gotta run across that platform. Gotta sit on a torpedo while it's going across. It can be a little tricky. Like, Moo was in the anglerfish room, was in the big fish room, the green one. I don't know the names. But yeah, in a later stage, that fish is going to be a tiny bit of a problem if they can't. Now, Treasure Knight, he tends to stand in one spot, so you can get close, use your Bounding Soul, then just smack him. As you saw Moo do there. He stands in one spot, and you smack him till he's dead. BreadPan's entering the stage. That blue thing at the start you can knock over, so you can go and you get right up onto the next screen. David entering Lich Yard. This is normally where you'd fight Specter Knight in Shovel Knight or Plague Knight campaigns, and it introduces those bushes. You can hit the bushes; they'll bounce up, and you can, when they're up there, you can bounce on. You can attack them, so you can go up further. You also get those rooms where there's invisible walls, which really cool, and that's nice. Right, Troy, a good anglered fish. That was helpful. BreadPan just now entering anglerfish. David is just blasting through these stages. Troy was playing it safe there, because you don't want to die. See how Troy's entering the tiny anglerfish room. This thing can and will kill you really easily. So the runners want to try and dodge that as fast as possible. Right now, David fighting the Phantom Striker, which is the replacement for Specter Knight in this story. What he does is he uses lightning and runs around. He can deflect your Bounding Souls if you're not careful, so it can be a pain sometimes. BreadPan and going through the fish room, and it looks like he didn't make it onto the anchor as it was coming back up, which really sucks. David entering Dream Sequence number 2. This is the one where you get to fight Shield Knight. So you go through the tower, you climb up, and you can fight Shield Knight up at the top, which is a really cool boss fight. Moo had a really nice Phantom Striker fight there. BreadPan coming back into the fish room, opting to not get the checkpoint this again. I can respect that. The bold play. When that fish, now he's playing it safe. It's the good choice. Moo also entering Dream Sequence 2. David on the Shield Knight fight. In this fight, you want to hit her as quickly as possible. You get this item that you can throw on the ground. It's an exploding shuriken. If she steps on it, it will damage her. And you want to land those as much as possible, but sometimes her shield gets in the way and she blocks them. BreadPan cleaning up sunken ship. Iron Whale, my bad, with a pretty good Treasure Knight fight. David is heading off to Clockwork Tower now. Really one of my least favorite stages in this run, because I was never good at it, but it's still a really cool stage in all of the campaigns you can play through it in. You get introduced to these platforms that when you stand on them, they move other platforms. They move down, they move up. Stand on one, it goes down, the other goes up. And you gotta jump on them real quick. You get those timed platforms right there. And David just barely avoiding a death with that. It's a really easy spot you can die there. If you go too fast on that, in that room, you'll miss the jump up to the upper platform, and you'll fall to your death. Not losing too much time, but it's still a death you'd want to avoid at all costs. This is one of the David's in the first of the two auto-scrollers in Clockwork Tower. Yeah, there's two in them. They're both okay. The second one's not that. Second one's not that fun, but it's still fun nonetheless because it's Shovel Knight. Troy had a nice Phantom Striker there. So as you probably noticed, the runners tend to avoid getting the checkpoints if they're out of the way, because while it is nice to play for safety, sometimes getting the checkpoints for safety sometimes cost you a little bit. David just completely went over that wall, because that's a long wait. And then he almost got crushed there. He didn't. He almost did. Just to go a tiny bit faster. BreadPan had a nice Phantom Striker. Troy of Athens is going to be entering the Shield Knight fight here soon. David in the second auto-scroller of Clockwork Tower. At the top of this one, you gotta do a jump over to one of the lanterns that hits you up onto a ladder. It's a little scary. Moo as well, almost getting crushed by that crusher, by the moving platforms. Roy almost done with the Shield Knight fight. Not going his way from what I can see, but it's still going pretty well. Now, the David on the Tinker Knight fight, this is a fight in two stages. Fight Tinker Knight himself, and then Tinker Knight on his mech. The first stage is pretty simple. You just hit him. Hit him as often as possible, and in the second phase, you can just bounce around, hitting him while he's on the platform without having to really touch the ground. BreadPan had a nice Shield Knight there. You're always happy to see those. David just demolishing Tinker Knight. Moving on to the next stage. Troy trying to go a little too fast. Ended up going through a screen transition again. Not that big of a deal. Moo had a good Phase 1 Tinker Knight there. See how the Phase 2 goes. So with Tinker Knight, you hit him in second phase, you hit him 2 to 3 to 4 times, and he'll go to the other side of the screen. You can just keep following him around, bouncing around, and attacking him as he does this. Does this to never touch the ground. That's from at the very start. David's in Pridemore Keep now. This is a really fast stage, which introduces the propeller rats, the best enemy in the game, as we all know. After Clockwork Tower, the runners by 2 Darkness, you can find them in those stages, normally, but finding them takes time that they don't want to use to find them. So there's that character there, you can buy the health upgrades, the darkness upgrades, and what that essentially does, you can get more health, or you can get your darkness upgraded, which lets you use your items more. It's always nice, because it lets you use more Bounding Soul. Judgment Rush being used throughout places, so you can skip some sections. Always nice. Moo using a damage boost there to skip having to hit that book. David on the King Knight fight. King Knight's fairly simple. You hit him with your scythe, you hit him with the Bounding Soul. David almost taking a death there. Thankfully, he was able to recover out of it, which is always nice to see. Dying there wouldn't be the worst thing, but it still loses you a couple seconds depending on how far into the fight you were. Right, Moo entering the other book room, using the Judgment Rush there to go right to that propeller rat, save a little time. Now that is a third dream right there, but it doesn't really count since you talk to the Enchantress for a little bit. Alright, Moo on the King Knight fight. And Troy is in the second auto-scroller of Clockwork Tower. David currently in Stranded Ship. Got that name right that time. The Stranded Ship introduces these rails, which the blue ones they have you go right, and the red ones they have you go left. And you use them because they're... Sometimes you can't make the jump, so you gotta just barely touch the one. Right, Troy having a pretty nice Phase 1 Tinker Knight. Right, you get to hit these switches in Stranded Ship, that they take those walls, they change them, so they switch which one they are. Then there's these switches that switch the color of rails, so the left ones go right and the right ones go left. Right, Troy had a pretty nice Tinker Knight fight there. Pretty nice. David using another example of the Judgment Rush, just skipping sections that skipped a screen there, so it definitely saves time. BreadPan's getting close to the second auto-scroller in Clockwork Tower. Clockwork Tower is one of, I believe, the longest stage in the any percent run. David coming up to the Polar Knight fight. This one's simple. You use Bounding Soul again, and then you just stand by him, just keep attacking. Then you just attack him. He will die pretty quickly if you do this. You can even hit him in the air right there, which is always something you love to see. Troy coming in a Pridemore Keep now. Little Judgment Rush being used to skip some sections because it's fast. Moo getting towards the end of Stranded Ship now. At Polar Knight. Always a cool boss. David entering the Tower of Fate now, which you get 2 stages of. You get the one where you fight Black Knight again, and then you get the final fight. Always really cool. BreadPan having a nice Phase 1 Tinker Knight. Always good to see. Hope the second phase goes well. Missing the Judgment Rush attack. That's going to hurt just a tiny bit on BreadPan, but it's no big deal. Moo entering the Tower of Fate as well. Judgment Rush being used all over to just skip slight sections. BreadPan, he's having a hard time there on Tinker Knight. You hate to see that, but it happens. Really hate to see it. Alright, David entering screen with the fish again. He gets to make a return. If you're not careful, he can hit you a whole lot. Especially on this part. He can hit you a whole lot. Looks like David didn't plan for that. He mistimed his button press and went down instead of up, which set him back a couple screens, but it's no big deal because he hit the bird going right into the spikes again. Once again, you hate to see them die like that. Moo also taking a death. BreadPan entering Pridemore Keep with Troy entering Stranded Ship. Both Moo and David looks like they're at the same spot. So let's see how they both get past the fish guy. Moo got past pretty nicely, and so did David. It's really good. Now we enter the Tower of Fate's auto-scroller. This one's long, so it's not too fun. Like BreadPan's just playing around now, trying to get to the ladder. Don't know what was going on there. Roy's having a pretty nice Stranded Ship mini boss. You love to see. That's one of my opinion, one of the cooler mini bosses. BreadPan almost dying again to do the Judgment Rush on the enemy. David and Moo are entering the rail section of Tower of Fate, which has you go through this black and green rail section where you can't see much, but you can see the outline of your character. And they're coming into Black Knight too. You have to see this character come back, and they're gonna try and go for a good kill on them, where they knock him off the turtle as early as possible, and then just keep smacking him on the ground. Turtle can get in the way of this, which happens sometimes. Moo just barely missing the on-the-ground kill, which David did too, it looks like. So that sucks for both of them, but it was, other than that, it was a pretty good Black Knight 2 for the both of them. Moo just being barely ahead of David here. This BreadPan having a nice King Knight fight. So that's really good to see. Right now they're entering the finals. David and Moom are entering the final stage, which is you have two phases. You have Enchantress and you have Raise again. He makes a return. Troy having a pretty nice Polar Knight. Moo missing the quick jump up. Just resorting to take the long way around. Troy is going to be entering Tower of Fate, while BreadPan going through Stranded Ship. Now the Enchantress fight can be a problem, but it shouldn't be too bad. Now the other phase, Rise. That's a fun little boss fight, but it can be a little annoying at times because it's all RNG based essentially, where the rails show up underneath you. Like David and Moo both entering the final phase here. Let's see who will happen to win. So Raise, he can take 3 hits before going over to the right side of the screen. When he does that, he will rear back and do an attack. First one's always a charge across the screen. Then it goes to him placing fire on it, and David pulling out the 39. It's a really clean run. BreadPan having a really nice Stranded Ship currently. Same with Troy having a pretty nice Tower of Fate so far. Yeah, the RNG in this fight really hurt Moo in that last phase. Putting him at a 40-21, David at a 39-58. Missing the quick step also hurt. Let's see if Troy can get past this screen. He did. Good for him. Now he's into the fish room. It's always a fun room. Let's see what happens. If he can get past the first try. And he did. That's good to see. But taking the death right there almost immediately. Thankfully, he grabbed the checkpoint, which let him not lose that much time. Since it's right there at the start of the auto-scroller. You're stuck there. BreadPan with a pretty nice Polar Knight. You love to see him. He's going to be entering Tower of Fate now. Always fun segment of stages. Now in the Tower of Fate you get the moving green lanterns, which are definitely something. Troy making it out of the auto-scroller without any damage. Good. Gonna be entering the Black Knight 2 fight here soon. Now, after you kill the final boss in this, you can go through a little story section in the credits, where they tell you about some of the backstory for the characters. BreadPan dying. You really hate to see that in Tower of Fate. Troy missing the knockdown, resorting to the good old-fashioned way of bumping into him until it hits him. And then he decides to stay down. BreadPan moving quickly through Tower of Fate. Troy taking the death on Black Knight 2. That far into the fight, that's a really bad death to take, and you don't like to see that because it resets the fight, and it's a long one if you can't get the knockdown right at the start. BreadPan making it through that room there. Did that pretty cleanly. Like, Troy got the early knockdown on Black Knight 2, so he can just wallop on him now while he's down on the ground. Hopefully the turtle doesn't get in the way too much. And second tries of the charm, it seems. That was a pretty clean Black Knight 2 for Troy.
Hey, how's it going?
Going good. The race is getting interesting. BreadPan died in that spike room. That's a tough room to get through if at times. Now that spiky,
yeah, I died there once. After I died to the big fish.
Right, Troy entering the final stage.
Hey, Moo.
Hey, how's it going?
Go down. Troy dying in that stage. That's a really annoying part to die on, but it happens. Not fun.
Oh, I'm sure Troy's cursing himself for that.
You know, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to die there, but the fact that you gotta ride that platform up slowly hurts.
Oh no, did he die in the tower on the last elevator?
He did.
I was actually worried about the same happening to me.
I have died many times on the elevator, just accidentally railing when I land on it.
Who hasn't?
It's a rite of passage or something like that.
You had a sub 40 in game, or according to your own splits. Very nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. There was a lot of really janky stuff throughout the run, but it was actually really smooth up until Tower 1. And then I died once to Lunkaroth and then once to Spike Room.
So
Spike Room.
I had the restream. Oh god. Okay, so I had the restream up on my phone, and I looked over at one point because I knew I was behind you going into the tower, and then I saw that I was ahead of you. I was like, "What the hell happened to David?" I also died in Bounce House, by the way.
Oh, bounce houses are dangerous.
Yeah, I whiffed the second. I never got the dash attack on Steve after I freed him, and I was kind of panicking because I didn't want to get hit into the spikes. Therefore, I got hit into the spikes.
BreadPan dying to Black Knight 2.
That's
Never
also normal.
But
Unfortunately, that's also completely normal.
Yeah, Black Knight 2 got away from me. I had to take it up to the skies for the last hit. So yeah, this is...
Troy dying to the Phase 1 Enchantress. That late into the fight, you don't really want to see that death, because it takes a while to get back to that point. But still...
It's just Judgment Rush for the open?
Ah, interesting.
He did.
Troy is either doing his own thing or doing some very old strats, which is totally fine. Troy did get sub 45 with Specter, which is very, very difficult.
BreadPan killing Black Knight 2 at that time. That was a better fight than the first one.
Oh, my favorite bonk! Nice. BreadPan got the tower bonk.
Now they're both going to be in the final stage. Let's see what happens. Troy entering the final phase.
I was
Very
excited
nice
to see
finish for
Troy
Troy.
get that kill.
Yeah, that was a really nice, clean finish. Alright, get your spaghetti out. It's Nightmare Reese.
He got really hurt there at the end by the rails. MooMoo.
Yeah, it could have been way worse, honestly. I was able to not die at the very least.
I mean,
The sad
That's
part
always
that
good.
it could have been worse.
I've had way too many Reese fights where I jump to fire my second volley of fire, and then whoops, there's a gap in the rails.
Yeah, sadly, those rails that are in the fight are RNG based. So never
matter
too
how-
fun when you get to them, because they
matter-
can either gain you time or lose time.
No matter how much you practice the fight, like, there is an ideal way to handle the fight because the boss's patterns are always the same, but because the rails are so random, you can't actually guarantee that you'll be able to sit in the right spot to fire the souls or to grind up and do slashes on Reese's head.
So GG for troyofathyns. Speaking of
Hey.
which, hi Troy.
Hey, I beat BreadPan. What? What?
Yeah, BreadPan just died to Enchantress with 6 hits left, which sucks, but it happens.
Wow. I honestly came into this not expecting to win a single one of these. I mean, I technically didn't win, but you know what I mean.
BreadPan getting too risky though. Just using the Judgment Rush going right under the stage with Enchantress. Didn't work out for him too well.
So BreadPan is a very talented player, but he's also somebody who basically
Oh
goes
no!
all
That's
or
not gonna
nothing.
work! No, 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 no!
He missed it again,
like-
but he got closer to it that
Yeah,
time.
so he's trying for the fast strats, which I really don't go for, as you saw. I just kind of take it kind of simply,
Yeah.
and all the other three going for the crazy stuff where you go under the field like this.
There he goes.
And
He's
yeah,
trying
it's
again.
not enough health. And at
Yeah.
this point, he sees the
I would've
race room.
won.
He sees he's not. He sees that we've all finished. I think he just wants to show it off at this point.
That's so unfortunate. So there is a little bit of forgiveness when you're playing this game. If you do a boss fight, like, you can totally win the double KO situation, but there's not a lot of time to get that to happen. So unfortunately, BreadPan is nowhere near low enough health for that to work. Was very close in the previous attempt, though. Like, if it had just played out a little bit longer, Enchantress should have run into the soul, and it would have been a double KO.
Yeah,
I believe on the other attempt, the Enchantress had either 1 health or 2 health left. So he was really close to it.
Oh, that'll definitely kill. If he doesn't get hit, no!
He lost it right there at the end again.
There's a very
really hate to see.
there's a very specific timing with the Judgment Rush. Like, you're kind of trying to time it so that when you finish moving, she stops moving too.
Yeah, you're hoping to actually hit her. So where you use the Judgment Rush determines whether or not you get past her without taking damage, and then when you hit her determines whether or not she'll keep firing those shots. Because it animation locks her, and then she won't be able to do anything but continue attacking, so you'll have a little bit more time to finish her off.
Missing the bounding souls there, that hurts. Miss out on a lot of good damage.
No! So I am also really impressed to see BreadPan. BreadPan basically funded this tournament into existing, and he is not explicitly a Specter Knight player. He does play all the campaigns to an extent, but he is mostly regarded as the Plague Knight player because he has world record for any percent.
He is
There we
reasonably
go.
good at King Knight as well. Ooh, yeah, it's sweet. But yeah, BreadPan is reasonably good at King Knight too. He's got a sub 32 King Knight.
For a short time, he did have the record.
Alright, let's see how his Nightmare
that's-
Rays fight goes.
That was a nice lineup of the fireballs. It's a little different than I usually see. I like what he's going for.
This is very much a choose your own adventure book.
But all of them lead to bad endings.
Yeah, I wrote the guide on this fight, and it's like, you know, I honestly can't say, like, if you manage to kill the guy, congratulations.
Yeah.
Woo, okay,
I
you can
mean,
get the finish.
It's certainly better
One more
RNG than I got.
Yeah,
Wow.
you got screwed
Yeah,
by
there we go,
RNG there at
GG.
the end. And that's the run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would expect no less from BreadPan to just go all out, even in race scenarios.
Speaking of, hello, BreadPan.
Oh, hello.
Good job, you beat the game.
Pan.
I did beat the game. I get to at least say that. That was a bit worse than I was expecting, but next race.
Hey, you definitely went for everything until you got it, so you know that's something to be proud of.
Well, after I knew that I was not hitting that 50-minute mark anyway, but yeah, I should have gotten the Enchantress kill like the third attempt, but I just like totally like I don't even know what happened. And also I deserved the extra cycle on Nightmare Reese, but oh well.
Yeah, if an Enchantress would have
though.
been nicer, you would have gotten in like the third try.
Yeah. Just wanted to a little swag in there at the very end, at least, if I wasn't going to get sub 50. But next race.
Yeah, there's
David.
always the next one.
David, did you get anything
What
you
is-
particularly pop off about?
I'm not sure because it was kind of janky throughout the whole run. I mean, I was kind of glad that I was deathless up until Tower 1. Apart from that, I can't think of anything that was especially good.
Troy and BreadPan, anything you were both particularly
I didn't fall on Tinker. I'll take that.
Oh yeah, that's a that's a high mark for you.
I kind of liked my King Knight fight. That was cool. But
You all had good boss
Oh yeah. I gotta
I mean,
go back and clip my King Knight fight later because that one was really weird.
yeah,
I
I mean-
perfect Pride more.
yeah. I don't go for I don't all the quick kills like these guys do. So I kind of like most of them. I'm just kind of like happy that I survived. But you know, like
Yeah.
Treasure Knight, Mole Knight, a little bit of Repeller Knight. I've learned. Otherwise, I'm pretty much just winging it.
Yeah, I got
Good
a
run,
bunch
though.
of important tricks, but I probably shouldn't have died while trying to go for the second Tinker checkpoint. That was pretty embarrassing. But
Oh
well.
no.
yeah, no, not even like that. It was my second death in Tinker too, so pretty good. But yeah, a lot of deaths that I could just avoid and actually get the 45 I said I would. But fortunately, I had a lot. Some deaths were very preventable. Some I don't know. That's classic race me. So what can I say?
Yeah, I'm
Probably
happy to put out a sub 50. Hopefully, I can maybe get back to sub 45 form at some point, but I doubt it.
Yeah, Troy, don't talk yourself down. You know, you're actually really good. What was your time? It was like 48, right?
I mean, I reset like almost immediately, but yeah, it was just under race time GG's is 48.40, so probably like 48.3x.
Yeah, that was really good, honestly. So you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
Everyone had a good run for the most part.
Oh,
I mean,
in-game time of 48.08.
Not getting a sub 50 is pretty crummy, but I'd probably be more upset about this, 3 or 4 years ago. But right now, I'm happy to have a race with my fellas. So that's my conclusion.
It was fun.
It was fun.
All right, well, that wraps it up for me. I'm gonna head out, but thank you all for the race. That was good stuff. GG's, everyone.
Thank you for having me around.
GG.
Good race, everyone. Have a good night.
You too.
I'm gonna head out. Thank you, and see ya.